Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today, I want to talk about feeling you need to be right because it's it's a subject that has come up quite a bit with my clients recently. And being right and feeling that you need to be right, it can not only stall your progress, but the impact that you are having and the outcome of what you are doing at work. When there is a relational, I would say, misalignment at the top, and I'm speaking to you, my VP, my SVP that is listening, you are the ones who set the tone of what is going on in the organization. And when there is what I'm calling relational misalignment, that is where outcomes stall and your impact slows down and you start spinning your wheels. So I want to talk specifically about just two concrete cases that I've seen recently with my clients. And then we'll get into why this is important for you and what you can do about it. So I have one client who is managing a team and she feels she has to be right all the time with what she is asking of them. Meaning the way they want to do something, there's not much room for creativity. It has to be done her way. Or I have another client who, in managing up, the relationship that she has with her boss, she doesn't agree with the way that they manage. She doesn't agree with the way they communicate. And so she feels that she is right in her positions and in the way that she deals with her boss and challenges her boss. And you can be right, but, and this is what I want you to hear, is that can stall your progress. That can stall what you are trying to do at work. Because being right is individual. Being correct, that is about you. But when we have to get things done in our job, we rely on other people. We rely on that web of human interaction and human connection within the ecosystem in an organization. So when you are right, it can cause a lot of friction and absolutely slow you down. So I want to just back up a second here because I know that feeling like you are right, it feels like leadership. You are promoted because you have a point of view. And of course, that is important. You are in the position you are in because you have made good decisions and you feel responsible to defend and uphold what has gotten you to where you are and what makes sense. So when you are challenged by your boss or your peers or your team, the natural reaction is to reinforce your position. That is 100% natural. That is why you've been successful. And the brain automatically goes to, I have to just keep reinforcing and doing what I've been doing. But again, I want you to hear that being right is individual, whereas we need other people to get our jobs done. So when we make a decision and when we want to implement something, it gets implemented and your job gets done because your boss supports it, because your peers don't step in and block it or undermine you. And your decision will move forward because your team believes in it and commits to it. And if those layers, boss, peers, and team, if they are not aligned, then that is when your momentum is slowing. And that is absolutely why organizations stall and why you have a hard time moving forward your initiatives. It's not because the strategy is wrong. Absolutely not. It is because the relationships at the top in that ecosystem around you are not aligned. And the reason why it's also important to align those relationships, because that will also help, I would say, the friction or the unsureness underneath you, that is going to help move that forward. So aligning at the top, aligning with your team, that is going to accelerate your impact. So let's look for a minute at when there's misalignment, how that can hinder and hurt you and what you want to do in your job. When you feel you have to be right with your boss, you can be seen as rigid. You don't have the influence that you need to move things forward. A lot of times you're consulted later because people know that there's going to be major pushback, possibly major pushback. And your, I would say, political capital, meaning those relationships and your ability to navigate different important relationships in the company, that political capital shrinks. When you feel you have to be right with your peers and there isn't alignment, then I guarantee you that there won't be any cooperation. There will be a lot of passive resistance. So people aren't necessarily going to say something to your face, but they aren't going to support you. Information will also start to be filtered because people don't want to give you all of the necessary information. And then the transactions or the collaboration, that you have with other people, it becomes very transactional. And you absolutely need your peers to move things forward. Your outcome and what you create and what you are doing and how successful in your job depends on other people. Thirdly, I want you to think about your team. If you feel that you have to be right, then they are going to feel very defensive. They are going to comply instead of commit. They are not going to voice their concerns. Ownership is going to decline, and usually they end up doing the strict minimum. They don't bring key ideas. They don't propose. They're not creative. So when you are imposing constantly your point of view and feeling that you are right and they are wrong, because implicitly that's what they are thinking and feeling, then that is also going to hurt you from moving forward. So being right with your boss, with your peers, with your team, I would really encourage you to question when that is showing up. Because it has a cost. It has a cost to you and your impact long term. And being right, honestly, it's not going to protect you from any of it. Because, again, you navigate in a relational ecosystem. So instead of And I'd like to reframe this and help you think about it a little bit differently. So instead of, how can I prove my point? Ask yourself, what needs to happen for this initiative or this decision to move? Let me say that again. Instead of asking yourself, how can I prove my point? Ask yourself, what needs to happen for this decision to move forward? And you can ask yourself here, who needs to feel heard? Who needs clarity? Who needs reassurance? And who needs ownership? I'd like to give you a specific example from one of my clients. She had a lot of friction with her boss, and she had a attitude and behavior of always, I would say very often needing to be right. And especially needing to be right because she didn't agree with how her boss was doing things or communicating things. And what we worked on in coaching and what was life changing for her is when she got clear on what was the outcome that she wanted and how could she get that without having to be right. That is where the magic happens. Because when she stopped being right and having that very righteousness, defensiveness nature with her boss started listening to her more. Her boss started sharing more and being more open. And her boss and the people around started having a better opinion also of my client. So I want you to think about those relationships and what you need to do to move forward your decision or your initiative. That is what you are being paid to do. You are being paid to get things done, to solve problems. And if you are constantly wanting to be right, then I guarantee you that solving those problems and doing your job is slower than what it could be. Organizations don't stall because leaders lack intelligence. They stall because alignment at the top wasn't built deliberately, and people underestimate how important those relationships are. I'll say it again, you don't get paid to be right, you get paid to move things forward. And believe me, that if you can do that with other people and building those relationships, that is going to help you succeed. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll talk soon.